X-Men 97 is really good.
If you are not agree what I'm saying, shut up!
Now here's a bit of a disclaimer. I never watched a single episode of the original X-Men show, nor have I read any of the comics. I don't know why, but I never even saw it on TV. It just never came on when I was watching cartoons as a kid, because all I remember watching on Saturday mornings was Pokemon and that crappy Hannah Montana show. And to be honest, I was never even gonna watch this show, because the trailer did not appeal to me and I wasn't invested in the X-Men characters, but boy was I glad I did, because this show is just really fun to watch. All my knowledge about X-Men is from the movies in the early 2000s and the newer franchise with James McAvoy, and watching this show now, I came to the realization that these characters are way more entertaining than their movie counterparts, and that goes for both of the movie generations.
And by the way, the women are always saving the men around here. You might want to think about changing the name to X-Women.
The animation in this show is freaking beautiful, especially in the fight scenes. I like how they actually utilize each other's powers to amplify their own abilities. That's something I would like to see even more of in like the Avengers movies. In this show you can actually see the teamwork working really well. And not only that, but the mutants actually use their abilities in a creative way, and the fight scenes have imagination in them. I especially enjoy watching Nightcrawler's fighting style, and I really want to see more of that if they make another season. There's only like a couple of scenes where laser beams are being pushed at each other, which is really good, because you know how much I hate the laser beams being pushed in fight scenes. The X-Men theme playing in the background during the fight scenes just makes them even more enjoyable in my opinion, because it's the catchiest tune I've heard in a while. Like, I actually listened to the theme properly for the first time while watching this show, and it is really good. I never skipped the intro, because skipping the X-Men intro would have been a bigger sin than killing someone in my opinion. I mean, it's no Friday by Rebecca Black level catchy, because nothing's as catchy as that song. I'm still waiting for that day where Friday plays in the background of a fight scene, but the X-Men theme is still pretty good too. Right off the bat, Magneto became easily my favorite character in the whole show. His story was heavily related to the politics of where and how the mutants are supposed to fit in with the regular humans, and I thought that story was the most interesting one to explore. Also, Magneto's voice actor was doing such an amazing job. He just had a really demanding presence, and that made me interested in his character even more. I also thought his voice sounded very familiar, so I looked him up, and he was the voice for Professor Sharp from Hogwarts Legacy and Thresh from that League of Legends animated short. So what a great voice actor.
There is life, there is death, and there is me. Shut up.
And yeah, he's definitely one of the biggest MVPs in the show too, so yeah, he's really magnetic.
Shut up.
The Beast is a really chill character, one that I started liking way more than what I've seen from the movies. I love his phrase, "oh dear." Every time he says it, I chuckled. I always tend to like the smart and wise characters, which is probably why I like Yoda so much too. Another character is Morph, and there's some funny moments with them too. Morph and the Beast don't get a story arc in the show though, which is a bit disappointing because they spend a lot of time on Jubilee and Sunspot's story, which is definitely one of the low points for me in the show. Jubilee is alright as a character, but I never resonate too much with the impatient young characters who take nothing seriously, which is rich coming from me who never takes anything seriously. I'm all about fun, and looking forward to the weekend. And Sunspot was really boring to me. I'm sorry to whoever is a Sunspot fan, but I wasn't interested in his story as much as the other stuff that was going on in the show. I also didn't understand his powers. He has some sort of solar energy glowing thing, and I was just thinking that surely you can avoid all his attacks by just adding some 50 SPF sunscreen on your skin. Someone can tell me in the comments if sunscreen is his arch nemesis in the comics. I also feel like when watching the whole season, the first half goes through plot points way too quickly, and the pacing seems a bit off, and it's definitely noticeable when figuring out what's happening with Jean Grey and Cyclops. But once you get to the second half of the season, it gets more enjoyable. Storm was definitely not the most interesting both character and story-wise either. Initially, Storm seemed very boring like a mum character, and her entrance was corny as hell, and it seems like every time she uses her powers, she has to explain what she's doing for some reason. Now, again, I don't know her backstory and where she's from, so maybe it's normal for her to explain every single thing she does. And she's not the only one who explains stuff. There's a few of those let me explain what my abilities will do so it makes sense for the audience. And I don't like those moments.
I don't like it.
But luckily they dialed down those bits later in the season. There was even a moment in the last episode where Wolverine goes, "Oh good, we're skipping the blabber." And I just thought it was so fitting because they did talk a lot before and during the fights.
Ancient sands, heed my command.
I also like when the X-Men are falling from the sky at one point, and Cyclops' way of landing safely is to shoot his laser beam towards the ground so it slows him down. I'm sorry, but that's ridiculous. When he is slowing himself down while falling to the ground, he creates a giant crater on the ground. Lucky they weren't falling on top of London or anything, because he would have wiped out half of the city. I mean, come on, Cyclops. You have 2 or 3 people on your team who can fly. Let them save you and do a safe landing instead of you blasting a 1-kilometer radius crater on the ground just so you can safely land. Maybe he just wanted to do a cool superhero landing.
Superhero landing!
Anyway, I give this show a thumbs up. And if you haven't seen it, I recommend watching it, even if you're not the biggest X-Men fan. The animation's great, the fights are awesome, and there's enough interesting story to be engaged by the show. I give X-Men 97 an 8 out of 10. Like and subscribe for more. Bye bye now.